And so, with the magic of video, we get to see exactly what we're going to be doing in the coming video. We're going to be making this little girl's doll's cradle. Now, I know that we have a lot of grandparents and we have a lot of parents that watch this program, and I know that a lot of you are making things for your children and your grandchildren, and this is a great little item. If any of you have daughters or granddaughters or nieces, this is the perfect kind of thing. It's easy to make, it doesn't take a lot of wood, and you can do it in a fairly short order. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to make this little girl's doll's cradle. Now, the only thing I have to go on in order to build this little crib is this lovely handmade quilt that my wife has made. Now, there's going to be a little bit of tuck-in on each side, so we do that and that. And when we measure that, it looks like about 9 and maybe a bit of tuck-in there. I'm thinking about 9 by 22. So I've just quickly drawn up what I think this is going to look like. So here's the base, 9 inches wide, 22 inches long, and that works out nicely. And the upper structure of it, I think I'll just do something simple, just a C curve, like the old C-cab trucks from the 1920s and 30s, something like that. And that's what the end will look like. So going to be pretty simple. I think what we'll do is we'll do a little bit of an angle on that, and then of course there will be some sort of a rocker to fit underneath that. So let's go ahead and get making that. For this project, I've decided to use some wood that I've had for a little while. It's called Cedar of Lebanon, and it's a very light, it is a cedar, it's a very lightweight wood, and since the little girl's just a little bit over 2 years old, we want something that's not too heavy. But look at the growth rings. I wanted to show you, look at the growth rings. They're 3/4 of an inch wide. This tree grew somebody planted this tree about 50 or 60 years ago, and the tree got diseased at the bottom and had to be cut down a few years ago, and I got some pieces of it, and when it dried out, it's just a beautiful wood to work with, very easy to work with. So just something special to show you. And of course we're going to be working with rough cut lumber. This is rough cut lumber. This is 8/4. So the first thing I'm going to be doing, and we'll show you some videos of this as we go along, is cutting this to size, planing it, and gluing some boards together to get the right width that we need. Well, I've taken all of our material and glued it up, band sawed it, glued it up, and planed it, and I'm now working with 1/2 inch material because this is a pretty small little toy cradle for a little girl. I'm going to cut the sides right now, and because the base is 20 inches long, we want the sides to be 21 inches because we want the base to fit up inside the sides and the ends. So I'm going to make those 2 cuts right now. So there's an end view of our cradle, and you can see how the sides have a bit of a slope to them. I'm just going to put my digital protractor on there. We'll turn it on, and we'll see what that looks like, the angle that I've got right now. Now I think this is a little bit too much of an angle, but another thing to do is to step back and look at these things from a distance too. So I'm going to put that on there. Oh, that's 17 degrees, and I think that's too much. I'm going to move it back to more like 15. Even that's too much, I think. Let's go to 12.5. That's a common woodworking. I actually like that. Let's set that one up as well to that. And we'll step back and have a look at that from a distance. That looks fine to me. We could play around with this. We could go narrower or wider on it, but I'm going to leave it at 12.5 degrees. I think that'll work just fine. There's our base. What I want to do now is tilt the saw to a 12.5 degree angle. And my saw has a digital readout on it, so it makes it a lot easier to see. There it is, 12.5 degrees. Now I've already set the height of the blade, and I've preset the distance from the fence, and I'll make 2 passes, one on each side. I also took the 12.5 degrees off the side of the crib, and you can see what a lovely, nice, tight fit that gives us now. Now I've taken the plan that I drew on the board and I've marked it on here, maybe a little hard to see, but you'll notice that I've got the 2 pieces clamped together, and I'm going to cut both of them at the same time. So that's what the cutout looks like from the scroll saw. I'm now at the drill press, and I'm just going to sand this area down, make it all smooth, and it's still clamped together. I've got the cradle on end, and you can see this is what it looks like. And I'm just using painter's tape as a clamping tool. And what I'm going to do now is I'm just going to run a bead of glue down the 2 sides and on the short end. And I'm just going to use my 23 gauge pinner, really more as a clamping tool, to hold the glue while it dries on there. So I'm just going to go ahead now and do that. It's amazing how well that tape works as a glue, or how well that tape works as a clamp. Now because I've pinned this, I'm actually going to be able to work with this because the pins will actually hold that fairly firmly now. Now we can finish the tops. This is the back. And we even have the top ready to go. I made the top a little bit proud. I wanted it to stick out a little bit on the sides, the front and the back. There we go. All that's left now is we need to put the rockers on here. And I'm just going to cut those out. I've cut those out, and I'm just going to do some sanding on the top to make them nice and smooth. Now I decided to put some screws in with a wide head because I'm not sure that the little girl that's going to receive this, if this rocking is going to be suitable. Somebody may have to replace the rockers with something stable and put these on later on when she gets a little bit older. Well, that completes our little doll's cradle, and I think it looks quite nice. And for me, this is where I bail because the request is for this to be painted white, and I don't paint wood. I'm a woodworker. I finish wood, but I don't paint wood. So somebody else is going to paint this, and I'm sure the little girl will be absolutely thrilled with it. It didn't take that long to make. You can make up the plans as you go along and make adjustments. It's pretty simple. It looks great. But most of all, it's going to make some little girl pretty happy to put her dolls and all her little girl treasures in it. So, if you like what we're doing, we ask you to subscribe. We ask you to follow us on Twitter, like us on Facebook. I'm Colin Cadet for WoodWorkWeb. Thanks for watching.